Hey,
Yeah.
Neil, who was
Yeah.
it that made the initial call to get the band back together?
How to God, I can't even actually remember the moment, except that we did a thing last year in my studio where we got together to kind of play for a while, and we invited the old members in. We were filming for what potentially will be a Split Ends doco, and we just slipped into it so effortlessly and so easily that it became talked about. And then somebody came to us with an offer. It was for Electric Avenue, was the offer that came through management, and it just felt like the right time somehow. It just clicked with the moment. So yeah, we said yes to that, and then of course once we had that, it was, oh well, that won't one show's going to be a bit weird. Maybe we should do a few more, just to get the old girl really up and running.
What was Electric Ave like?
It was amazing. It was the first show in 17th year. It was our 1,000th show. It's hard
Yeah.
to say that actually. Noel reminded us. Somebody had told him. But we hadn't, and we playing 40,000 people on a stage the size of Coachella, and with our new costumes, and it really went as well as we possibly could have hoped. All the crowd was singing; they were sort of euphoric, and I'd say a good proportion of them, if not a majority, probably weren't even born when the songs were first written. So it was just an amazing reminder of how songs stay in the air and how they just travel through the years and accompany people in their good times and their bad times, and then we were able to enjoy it all together. It didn't feel different, it felt like we were on stage just like it had always been. And you look out this audience and they all looked like the same. Some of the people were old and like us, but lots of them were real young, like they always were.
So many hits. How do you decide the set list? Does one person end up? Do you have to say, okay, well, in the end, we can all make suggestions, and then I'm going to have the final say, or does someone have the power of veto?
Well, Tim probably would be the one who wrangled this set list mostly, but we all, weighed in for the ones that are the fringe dwellers. We knew we only had an 80-minute set, so we were able to we bang out all of the hits, and then a few of the sort of songs that became quite well known, like I think "Poor Boy." I doubt that was ever a single, but it became a very well known song. And things that were, so we had to decide on the ones that were slightly off to the side. When we do a tour, which we're about to do, we'll be enlarging the set list to a longer. So we'll have got 5 or 6 more songs to add. So a few deep cuts, maybe a couple of the old songs from the early days. But yeah, Tim is probably at the centre of things. He sings, more songs than I do, so he wants to stake his claim. But it's a pretty democratic band. There's a few vetoes here and there on things, but I've been very agreeable. We're getting on really well.
You mentioned it was your 1,000th show. Were you guys aware of that before that show? Were you sitting on 999 thinking, come on, we got to get one more on the record, surely?
No, I mean Noel was the one, and Noel is not a statistics guy. He's not. He sits around and draws and plays weird things with his drumsticks, but he doesn't normally look at the stats. He came into rehearsal and said, "Yeah, do you guys realise it's 1,000 shows coming up?" We hadn't known that, so yeah, phenomenal.
So you've obviously got Tim and you and Eddie's in there and Noel's there. Matt Eccles is in there as well. And James Milne as well. Lawrence Arabia, people know him as Lawrence Arabia. So how did those guys go? Because I imagine Matt and James would have been shitting their pants. They're about to play with arguably the biggest New Zealand band in history. Did you have any words to say to them before they went out there just to ease the nerves, or did you ramp it up on purpose?
I had to give James a hug. Not long before we went on, because we actually had subtle makeup applied. We didn't do the full crusty white theatrical makeup because we thought it would look really bad halfway through the set if we were all sweating and the makeup was starting to peel and the cracks appearing, So we went for some kind of, more subtle makeup, more like what you probably have on 7 Sharp.
So a lot of grease.
There's a lot of cake it on.
And a lot of grease in your hair.
Just to smooth out the rough edges, We stopped short of shots in the lips and, but But sorry, no, I've got off topic now. But I
No,
was
you
in there
haven't.
getting my makeup done from a young lady in Christchurch, and I looked out the window, and James was just pacing past the window, gulping huge gulps of air, and I sensed that he was on the verge of a panic attack. So I went out and gave him a nice big hug, and told him everything was going to be okay. And he played a blinder, and he was fine once he got on stage, but he was very nervous. Matt, I think, was very nervous too, but Matt doesn't. He's quite inscrutable, doesn't display it. James was clearly very, very scared.
It's a freaky thing.
Yeah.
I mean, how's the dynamic changed? Obviously, it's changed massively since you first arrived in the band as a teenager. I mean, you've got a lot more clout nowadays, I imagine, with not only your brother, but with the other members of the band.
Sort of, although I'm still the youngest in Eddie's eyes. He'll still every now and again motion for me to sit on the floor so he can give me a good talking to. But I won't now. I used to, that was one of his party tricks was, young fella, on the floor. And he'd give me a talking to. But no, it doesn't work anymore.
What about your relationship with the songs you mentioned before? There's some songs that make the playlist, there's some songs that get vetoed. Does that change over time as well?
Yeah, there's discussion about this, there's certain songs that will be difficult for different reasons for different people. So, there might be a song that's really hard for Tim to sing the lyrics of because he doesn't believe them anymore.
Yeah.
Or, there might be one that Eddie says, "Oh, there's no way I'll remember how to play that." Although he always says that, but he always manages usually. He's quite an extraordinary musician, as who people come to see us play. I hadn't forgotten, but I was newly acquainted with the wonder of his fancy finger work. It's just extraordinary, and he remembered everything in the end. He did put his thumb out. He was in some kind of brace before we went on, but it didn't seem to matter once we got on stage.
Where do you draw the line, like in terms of solo stuff and crowded house stuff? Do you? Because people be wanting you to belt out some crowded house stuff. Do you go there or do you not go there?
We don't need to because the Crowded House are out there doing it as well. So, and we have done a couple. I've done I Got You on stage with Crowded House on, not every night, but some nights, and I do Message to My Girls some nights as well. So we do keep a couple of those songs alive. But no, the band is very distinct and quite unique in its own way, split ends. So I don't think we would need to venture into any other territory. People are quite happy to get those. There's a full set of really well-loved songs. So. And we're still doing Crowded House and loving that, and I've got a new record on the go. So, life is full, and I'm feeling very grateful.
So no covers in the set either? Is that something you guys like to have a crack at? No,
we occasionally had covers that were just sort of off the cuff.
Yeah.
Eddie used to do a pretty crazy version of Feelings. The song Feelings.
Not the Deja Voodoo song, I hope.
No, I don't know their one. But okay. No, there was a well-known hit from America, some American artist. Feelings, oh, feelings. You know that song, don't you? Maybe it's before your time.
Do I know that song? I don't know if I do.
I'm with you, girl. These feelings of love. It's a belter from the 60s or 70s. Eddie does that in an impossibly high pitch, and he can't really sing, so it was quite entertaining in its own way.
I interviewed Eddie not long ago, and he was remastering.
Yeah.
What was he remastering? He's remastering. I think it was 50.
True Colours, probably.
It was True Colours. Yes, it was. And he said, "I said, is there any bits that you've just had to auto tune Tim's voice? Any notes that Tim didn't hit?" And he's like, well, there actually were a couple of notes there. And then when I spoke to Tim, I said, that Eddie told me that there's a couple of notes. He said, I have never hit a flat. I've never been flat. Never. Were there any moments that you thought on stage? Come on, Tim.
I wouldn't contradict him. And I would say on record, I don't think we had such a thing as autotune in those days anyway. So I'd say on record, there's not a single note that's been changed in any form. These days in the studio, you never know what you're listening to. Everything's bolted down and tuned to within an inch of its life. But not me, I would actually hasten to add. I don't use auto-tune either. But, yeah.
What happens?
There's no badge of honour for that. You don't get sent a plaque for it or anything.
No, I think that's great. I think in a time when there's a lot of computer stuff. I think it's nice to have a human, but you just
Yeah.
know there's something that you feel that's human about something. It makes you warm to it.
Yeah, and even tuning is, I like some of my favorite vocalists, people you swear are singing slightly out of tune.
Yeah.
They're very strong, like, Robert Smith from The Cure, maybe David Byrne, Neil Young, all have that slightly wobbly thing where not sure whether they're perfectly in tune, but somehow it just has a beautiful human reassuring presence.
Yeah, do you feel like that's the way the music's going to go? Because now there's so much, as you say, auto-tune, but even AI and stuff like that. I feel like more and more people are going to want to hear the imperfections in the music. That's sort of what makes it good. It's the flub notes and the slightly missed notes singing and things like that.
I hope so. I hope that's the way. I mean, certainly no AI act's ever going to perform live. Well, actually, ABBA are slightly AI now, aren't they? But I mean, live music's always going to be great for that reason, because people are going to, even though I've got to say, actually, even though a lot of live gigs, people are using autotune, and in fact, they're using tapes still, I think, when there's lots of dance moves to pull off. But we're not. We've got no grid. We've got no click, where it's what you see is what you hear is what you get.
Hey, what happens after the shows? Are you guys getting on it heavily? Did you feel like you needed to tuck in after Electric Ave in Christchurch?
Yeah, the full works, Jeremy. We just went totally mad. We had like 17 years of partying to get done in one night. So, yeah, I mean, I think I saw Goodnight Kiwi on the TV.
Oh, wow.
I don't think it even exists anymore, does it?
No, nothing ever stops anymore. This is the thing. Everything just keeps going. Oh, apart from the bars.
It used to be the saddest moment on earth when Goodnight Kiwi came on. I thought that New Zealand was it wasn't acceptable to be awake after the TV finished.
There's something about the hauntingness of the organ as well.
Yeah.
It's beautiful though.
It is beautiful and sad and melancholy, and I love sad and melancholy, but we used to come, at that point we were living in Australia, and they had all-night movies, and they had like Rage on the weekends and everything, and we'd come back to New Zealand, stay with Sharon's mum, and then Goodnight Kiwi would come on, and we were in a late cycle, and it just felt so sad.
Yeah.
We didn't know what to do.
It's like seeing the sun come up after a big night out. You're like, all right, that's enough.
All right, best go. Hey, Neil, lovely to chat to you, and really looking forward to seeing you guys play. Thanks for chatting to us. It's always a great pleasure.
Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks, Manaia. You have a good day.